Hey guys, no, this is not another of my haul videos. This video is being made as a tribute to a very special man. Um, Today is November the 12th, and I'm quite sure that all of you have heard by now, by the time this video gets posted, that Stan Lee, creator of the Marvel Universe, and yes, I understand that there are many of you out there who would argue with that statement. But for today, just for today, let's show respect for whatever part Mr. Lee did have, and he had a very large part in creating the Marvel Universe and all of the things that are in it. For today, just for today, let's end the arguments and show respect for him. We all know Stan Lee's story. We all know that he started out at the age of 18 working for his uncle, Martin Goodman. Little nepotism there, but he did write stories, as you know, back in the 40s, they used to have two-page prose stories in each comic book to get the postal rate so that they didn't have to pay higher postage. And Stan was responsible for a great many of those. Uncredited, of course, which he made up for that later in life, getting credit for things. But, you know, like I said, just for today, he created some of the most iconic characters that have ever been created in comic books. Of course, he played a great part in creating Spider-Man, which this graphic novel or trade paperback or whatever you want to call it contains a reprint of the very first comic book that I remember purchasing as a kid, and that was Spider-Man. It was either one. It was the one where the Green Goblin, the original Green Goblin, dies. It was either 121, 122, somewhere around in there. But it's in this storyline. And as a very small child, just the four-color magic that was contained in this story, I remember being very upset and just really not knowing what to think when that famous scene close to the end of the issue where the Green Goblin dies, where he is impaled by his own goblin glider and basically nailed to the wall. You know, back in the 40s, that stuff was pretty commonplace, but under the comics code, you really didn't see villains just die gruesome deaths like that. But in this particular issue, that indeed did happen. He had a hand in creating, of course, the Fantastic Four. You know, supposedly his wife told him when he was just about to get out of comics to do one comic the way he wanted to do it, that he was quitting anyway, so if it didn't sell, it really wouldn't matter. And the story goes that he decided to create this group of heroes and have them exhibit all of the vicissitudes of a family, that they would bicker, that they would be disappointed, that they would band together when they needed to, and all of those things, which wasn't a common occurrence in comics. As a matter of fact, some people say that up until that time, it was a unique concept that was brought about in comics with the creation of these heroes. Of course, he had a big hand in creating the villains too. Doctor Doom, Loki, Green Goblin. I won't mention the Red Skull because I have a feeling I know who created the Red Skull, and love you, Stan, but that one I don't think you had a hand in. These characters, regardless of who created them, they, for the most part, are almost household names. And how many people can it be said of that they created characters for children that have survived and are known as long as some of these characters are, and still are known today, even to new generations of kids who are seeing the Marvel movies and becoming interested in these things. Of course, he created the heroes: Iron Man, Scarlet Witch, Daredevil, Silver Surfer, Nick Fury, which some people believe that Nick Fury is actually modeled a lot after Jack Kirby. True, not true, who really knows? But regardless, under Stan Lee's leadership, all of these characters came into being, along with these characters too. I had the opportunity to get Stan's autograph twice, and I hate to say it, but I passed on it both times, and I think that is going to end up being one of the biggest regrets that I have. I actually did meet him and shake his hand on the way out of Comic-Con one time. So I did have that, but I don't have anything signed by him, which is odd, because the big creators that were still alive that I've had the opportunity to meet, I've gotten their autograph, but Stan was one of those that for some reason or another I didn't. Move a few of these. You know, comics became mainstream partially because of Stan. You know, there was an old Spider-Man television show, and I can't remember, and I'm talking about live action. You know, the cartoons that came out in the 60s with Captain America, Iron Man, Thor, Submariner, some of the other ones that were in there. Well, those were cartoons. But when that first episode of The Incredible Hulk aired in 1977, I believe that along with, of course, Wonder Woman from DC, helped to bring comics into the mainstream and start to get them some respect. And Stan was at the forefront of that. He toured colleges for years, giving talks. And, you know, Stan liked to talk about himself. Let's be honest, and that's not saying anything ill of the dead. Stan was a promoter, and he promoted his industry. He promoted the characters that were within his industry, and he helped show that these characters could be taken seriously, and that there was some good stories to be told about these characters, and there was money to be made. Stan Lee died at the age of 95. There will not be a 96th birthday. When his wife passed away, Joni, several months ago, it's one of those things where it's like Jack Kirby and his wife Roz. You somehow knew that you couldn't separate one from the other, and the other survived for very long. And Stan depended so much on Joni and talked about her so much that I think that once she was gone, I think that one of those things that kept him going went with her. And, I haven't gotten any details. I heard he died in the hospital. I hope it wasn't, through a lot of pain. I hope he went peacefully. But Stan Lee is gone. And the world is a sadder place because of it. And now on a personal note. Thank you, Stan, for creating a world, a place where those kids who weren't the most athletic, who weren't the most popular, who had a rotten childhood, whose parents were not what they should have been. Not all of those things apply to me. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that. But there were a lot of kids that I know of that would retreat to the four-color world that you helped create. And for a little while, they were safe. They saw the good always triumph over the bad. They saw that with hard work, they too could be a hero. Thank you, Stan, for so many memories, and for that which we cannot repay you. Rest in peace.